Welcome everybody. My name is Atle Schekkeland. I'm a Microsoft MVP for Purview and CEO of Infotechtion. We will here cover security, privacy and governance for AI and agents. The session is also being recorded, and over the weekend you will get a copy of that recording. It will also be posted on our website. I'm joined today by two amazing experts on this topic. My good friend Jon Erik Bjore, Vice President of Technology Management at Equinor. He will tell more about that. And Aditya from Microsoft, Product Management from Engineering. That will then address a little bit also about what's the best way to secure and govern AI and agents. My colleague Vivek was not able to make it, but I will do my best to fill his shoes. That's quite big virtual shoes actually, because he's quite an expert. And we will in this webinar cover first, as you see in the agenda, how to enable AI and agents to deliver business value without compromising security, privacy and compliance. And then it's what's the practical governance, security and controls you can put in place that scale with AI adoption. And I will talk a little bit at the end about how to build an operating model responsible and ensure responsible AI and compliance. You can use the chat function to ask questions during the webinar. We will do our best to answer questions also during the webinar. And I hope, but it depends on our guest speaker here, that we have some time at the end to address any questions. So with that, I'm going to hand over to our first speaker, Jon Erik. Over to you.
Thank you, Atle, and good morning, good afternoon, and also learn good night to the audience. And I will talk a little bit about how we have taken on the challenge on AI agents, and how we actually ensure that we create the value. My responsibility is software development, software engineering, design, and artificial intelligence on behalf of Equinor globally. If you click one more, please, Atle, just to say a few words about Equinor for those who do not know us. We are about the top 10 energy suppliers of the world, based out of Norway, 25,000 people, currently operation in 20 plus countries. It used to be 35-ish, and we will scale it down to optimize the value creation. 7,500 suppliers working with us, and we are distributing energy to 170 million people every day. And with that one, I mean every day. All company established in 72, so a lot of legacy, which is a challenge in itself when you move into the AI area. And we are, in addition to oil and gas, delivering also on renewable wind, but also carbon capture and storage technologies. And we've done that one actually for pretty many years. So let me dive into the AI strategy. And I have to say, I love our dog. I was out petting it the other day. It's walking around on our plants as using agents and AI to actually help us improve the safety. So that one said, but we are a digital energy company. We've been known to be a digital energy company for many years, and we do that one through strong collaboration with our partners and solid execution or implementation of technology. So that was the kind of the starting point where we start looking into how do we attack and how do we kind of set the direction for AI, which is then at that point in time evolving and going to hit us pretty hard, so we can use it for our advantage and not only get the disadvantages. If you want to do one more click, Atle, please. Thank you. So we have, through the last 4 years, shaped a strategy, meaning it's not 4 years to shape it, but it's been updated regularly, because we started with the ambition that a strategy is not necessary because the world is changing so fast. So we actually only need a direction, and the direction was anchored with this executive committee and the board to make sure we all agree in which way we're going. And then during this period, we have matured it into a more regular strategy with a very clear vision for us as a company. And we have stated, and then if you look at that one, searching for the better, meaning we're going to actually do better all the time. We use AI to innovate, to automate, accelerate processes and operations, improve safety, which is extremely important for us in the high-risk industry, reduce emissions, and ensuring high value in everything we do. And the last there is pretty important, high value. And that's been one of the focus. I'm going to revert back to that one a little bit. And with that kind of a little hairy ambition, we had to make some principles. We made 3 of them. It's going to be value focus in everything we do and make AI an integral part of our operations, creating the real value and transforming the work processes to ensure we actually bring the value all the way out on the bottom line in the company. We need to have the principle of a strong foundation, meaning we need to standardize. We need to have an efficient change management, and we have to really have strong and robust data practices to control this one. And it needs to be a common core in everything we do. If not, we're going to lose control. Everyone is going to build whatever they like, and it's going to be both risky and it's also going to be pretty costly. And finally, we need to ensure that we use AI in a safe and responsible way. Not only because it's a requirement for compliance with laws and regulation, but because it is a part of our values as a company, ethics we have in Equinor. So these are the kind of foundational, the principles that everything is going to be built on to deliver on the vision, which is seen on the top of this slide. One more. And then I guess everyone knows that you do get what you measure. So we all agree that to set clear targets is key to be able to deliver on this strategy. And in this one, we have picked 4 of them. The 2 top ones is about safeties, trustworthiness, compliance, etc., etc. And there is numbers, which I don't show on the slide, behind these 2 top boxes. And on the bottom one is also numbers. It's about the upskilling. They need to have the competence to have innovation in the workforce to actually see the opportunity space this technology is giving us. And finally, and perhaps not finally, actually, one of the most important things, we set a clear bottom line effect, yearly effect, that's being measured on. So I need to go back to the executive committee with a commitment on what is delivered across the enterprise of value, net value, not imaginary value that's a lot of people have a tendency to calculate, right? This is the net one showing the bottom line of the company. So you get what you measure, and that's also why we measure, and this is really well anchored across all the executive leaders of the company. And then I had to have a bragging slide because we're actually a little happy with ourselves. The oil, gas, energy sector is where you see the lowest investment in AI across large industry sectors. But we are picking up pretty well in the industry, and we're also picking up in Equinor. And last year we have seen a bottom line effect of $130 million, measurable value, not including Copilots and other kind of assistance that you have to help you out in your daily work, but it's actually net value related to business processes and improvements which we can measure on the bottom line. So we're a little happy with that one. And what does it take? And that's always been what we have been discussing. It's very easy to end up in fearing or missing out thing here. Are we too late? Are we doing too little, right? Are we succeeding? Are we too strict? Are we too slow? And are we sure that we're doing just the same as the competitors? Well, that's always a good question. And seen from the top down, you're probably going too slow. Seen from bottom up, it's probably going too fast, right? That's the balance you need to hit. So what does it take? First of all, you need to have a strategic alignment. And that means all the way to the top of the company, where you actually focus on those areas where you need to transform your business. Not that AI is transforming the business, but you need to transform the business, and AI is one of the means you use to transform it. And you need to prioritize. You can't do it all over the place to get the bottom line effect. So you need to make a prioritization which is well anchored. And then you need to realize that adding AI to all the old things you're doing is probably not going to give you the value you would like to have. So you need to do the process redesign and really adoption of the core business processes, where you get this strong focus across the organization on adoption and changing ways of working, because that's 80% of the challenge, not the technology in itself, but change how you've been doing things. And then in Equinor, we have a very clear split of responsibilities. Business is prioritizing the most important things and defining what they would like to solve. And IT is deciding the technology. And then business is also running and responsible for the implementation of the solution and the value creation bottom line effect. And that one is tied up to the executive vice president in each of the business areas to make sure they own the result, they own the outcome. If not, you're never going to succeed if it's an IT thing. You also need to have this combination of technology, data, and people. And it's so easy to forget the data because that's the boring stuff. You need to make sure you have quality data, orchestrate all these things. You know, oh, been doing this for 20 years, never been done. It's more important than ever to have control of the data because that's feeding the AI. And it is known that if you feed it with the not so good data, you're not going to get the result you expect to get in the process you're doing something about. And finally, that makes sure that you focus not only on areas, but also on the initiatives, because it's very tempting to end up solving all kinds of problems all across, even within those 6 boxes I showed. But you need to assign the resources to where you're going to get the biggest upside, not solving every problem, because you don't need to solve all problems, and you need to do it a little bit more top down than bottom up to have control of it. So that's what we've been doing. So we have control of the portfolios, we know where we're putting the resources, we know what kind of value we expect to get, and we see that this is very well led together with the business on how we actually execute from defining the problem, the value, technology, implementation, and then measure. Sorry. And we picked 6 areas, as I mentioned. I'm not going to go through them. You see them on the screen. Those are relevant to us. For you, it will be different, most likely. But we have picked these, and that's where we really focus to bring the value out. And we all are aligned that these are those areas that is transformative for us as an energy provider to Europe and other parts of the world. So keep focus, make sure you focus on the right things, keep it fewer than bigger, and it's more likely you will succeed. Go one more, Atle. And that's what it looks like. And Equinor has been running AI, traditional AI, for many years, machine learning and so on. We've been early on language models. The first one in operation was 2018. And we are in the 90s where we started machine learning, etc. So you find these solutions now from the subsurface, the seismics, the wells. You know, we drill a lot of wells every year, 100, 150 or something only here in Norway, and also the international wells. For the predictive maintenance, drones and robots, you saw the picture earlier today, through the wind farms, the maintenance, predictions, logistic on the shipping side, all these things are just a starting for our journey moving forward. But that's also why we focus. Make sure we pick those that again gives us most effect on the bottom line. And that way we will ensure that we are at least as competitive as everyone else, and hopefully a little better in some areas. So that's the kind of focus we have these days. If you go one more, please. And then the agents, and this is a tricky one. And this is something that everyone is struggling with, at least everyone I talk to, and I talk to many companies and very competent people. And I got to revert a little bit back to it because this challenge isn't solved yet. And I don't think anyone knows exactly how to solve this challenge. But for us, agents is about 2 things. We have the individual ones, meaning me as Jon Erik, I do and use some and make some agents that will help me in doing my job more efficient. We don't measure it on the value. We think it's a little tricky. And if I do an estimate, it's probably going to be a higher number than someone else will if they estimate what I'm doing smarter. But we see, and we're getting efficiency in the organization. We see the speed is picking up among people. So it's helping. And it's not a secret. We are Microsoft, big Microsoft customers. So it's a lot about Copilot and so on in the kind of the left side here. And then where we really believe the money is the reimagined business processes, where we reshape the core in what we do, what we have been doing since the early 70s, and try really to not just add AI, but shape it and based on the opportunity space the technology can give us. And it's those 6 areas you saw before. And that's also where we set the clear targets to really measure that we achieving these things and to show on the bottom line it gives effect to the company. So 2 kind of archetypes. The right one is also based in many cases on the Microsoft technologies and solutions, but they're also based on other vendor ecosystems and so on. And that's kind of natural, right? In a setting of VR these days. If you go one more, Atle. And the first thing you start to do is, okay, every solution you buy is coming with some kind of assistance. They're coming with some browsing examples, and it's, the best practice, how you do it in my system kind of thing. But to be an end user is almost hopeless because it's spread all over the place. So now we have one AI assistant marketplace where you go and there you find all the kind of best examples of prompts. So it's organized per system, per process. You can just pick and choose. And really give the user an easy way in and to learn by taking these examples and kind of maturing them further across different ecosystems. One more click, please, Atle. There we go. We also added, if you click on one of them, not you, Atle, you don't click, just keep it still. When you go in there, you also find, a description of the different prompts. It will come up with information security classification. It will tell you something about access to data. And if you click one more, it will also say something about risk. So it will tell you what you need to be aware of if you take this prompt, as you see in the bottom. Very simple, plain simple, but many users are pretty new to these things. So you need to do it a little simple. One way of finding it, easy way to orchestrate it between different applications, different ecosystems, but you find everything in one place, and it's a good description of the risk in what you're doing. So you learn a little bit. You can't only think about the upside, but you also need to focus on the downside, right? So you can mitigate the risk. One more, please. And then we move into the agents in itself, and that is what will, in some cases, give you a few gray here, right? Because agents will change how we work. You will augment the humans, and you've seen through the systems. I mean, getting pretty good. Many users are getting pretty good in these things, right? And as I said, we use the Copilot, and we can see the volume is going up. And then you start the workflow optimization, where you make agents, you have a human in the loop, and that verify that agent is correct, right? So the outcome is correct, because you're still responsible even if something is doing something on your behalf. And then we move all the way to the AI first, to reshape the critical functions, agents to agent, multi-agent systems. And in some cases, you need human in the loop. In other cases, you don't, depending on the risk level. But this one you need to have control of. And especially as a high-risk industry, I have to have extremely good control of this one, so we don't get an operational risk we don't know anything about before something goes wrong, right? So this is the setup. And then we also know that the users are getting creative, and they often go faster than you're able to implement the frameworks. And that is creating some challenges, right? So if you go one more up there. And then we said this should be pretty easy. We just make a simple framework. If you make an agent for yourself, well, that's fine. What risk can that be, And then you go to the orange one, or yellow, as I normally call it. It's probably orange on this slide, where you start to share things. Well, perhaps someone needs to do a little QA of what you're doing to make sure that this is that outcome is correct and it doesn't bring a risk you don't know anything about. Or the high impact agents that you really have to make the professionals to make. You need the professional tools. And you really have the professionals to verify all the way that it is really giving the result you expect. And I can't have a 90% probability in some of these cases. I need to hire one, meaning I need to know what I'm doing. But it's not that easy. And that's why I said on this slide, it's currently being matured, because if you make the governance too strict, all the users are going to find the right way to go around you. They start using private subscriptions, they make something, they bring it back through different means, they implement it, right? And if you start holding back on what people can share, if you and I do the same job and I make a smart agent, why shouldn't I be able to share it with you without going through a long process of getting certification or approval that requires a big back office operation? So we haven't found exactly the way of doing it yet. We are learning from peers and tech companies, and how do we do these things? But it's not that easy. You get it too tight, they're going to find their ways around you. If you do it too loose, you're going to lose control of the risk. And in some industries, that could be okay. In other industries, it's absolutely not an alternative. So we are working on this one, and we have ways forward, but it's not a clear answer yet. One more click, please, up there. So we are working on the agentic blueprint, the foundation for us to scale, secure, be compliant, and also to ensure we avoid the fragmentation, the unnecessary cost, the inflexibility of everyone has made their own thing, right? And you don't get this thing to talk together as one company. As you can see on this one, a lot also is based on Microsoft, but we also need to have and govern and control agents from other vendor ecosystem. So we add on some open source functionality to on the top of the Microsoft Foundation to make sure we reuse, and we hope to be able to use one ecosystem as we move forward. Currently, it's not that easy. And we can't have different ways of doing it depending on which vendor is delivering the agents, right? So we need to find a way of doing it as one. One more click, please. And are we done? No. Will we ever be done? Not necessarily, but we're going to be more done than we are today. We have set up a process. We are in control of some of these activities. The others are still in the work. We have ensured that we can make some of these things once and reuse the technical solutions across different ecosystems, across different parts of the company. We have made it interoperable by design. We have avoided ecosystem-specific tooling. We are doing pretty good at best practice in security. With the data and so on, I'm going to come a little bit back to that one. And we have control of the safety and resilience. But we haven't got control of everything yet. And I think this picture is going to mature as we move forward, because new challenges are going to come because of the power in the tool and also the ability of the tool to make almost everyone into some semi-professional developer. And that we need to cater for. Can't stop it. We shouldn't stop it. We need to somehow control it in a smart way. One more, please. And on the data side, because that's very easy to kind of skip that one. We have standardized on what we call Equinor Omnia, which is the Microsoft Fabric ecosystem, I should probably call it. It is the unified data platform for AI transformation, but it's not the only one. We have other solutions and other vendors' ecosystem, which we also need to take into account. We do use Purview to control many of these things, but we also have to make sure we control the rest of the ecosystem, right? That is coming in, which is a non-Microsoft one. And the challenge we also see now, which I think probably is going to be the most tricky one, is access management. Access management as a user, access management as agent, and the control of agents being shared, and you suddenly share also the access management part of them. And how do you govern these things? So it's extremely important that you have competence enough and start on the bottom side, which I call the bottom, which is the foundation, is the fabric, the data, all your sources of data. And we have petabytes, 150, 200 petabytes, something like that one. All these things need to be governed with really proper access control. And we're working on it. It's moving forward. We haven't solved everything yet, and we learn by others by collaborating, but the progress goes forward. So use the kind of vendor supplied frameworks use the vendor supplied solutions, but also think about how do you then combine different vendor ecosystems into a unified way of handling all these things as you move forward. And you need to start with access management, the information security, and the whole data foundation underneath the AI solutions you are developing. And then finally, risk. It's the last slide of today. Risk. Successful AI is not only about technology. It's probably less about technology than it is about people and data. We normally say 20% technology, 80% is people and data. So don't forget to focus on people and data. And it's coming this way around. I say it's about standardization, how you actually optimize your toolbox, your platforms. One AI platform, one AI MLOps platform, one agentic platform, agentic blueprint. You need to take control of that one, because if not, the cost is going to run away from you. The upskilling, the innovation in your people depends on people's competence. You need to work on upskilling, not only the IT side of the organization, but also the user side. And they need to understand the risk. What is the risk with these things? It's not only an upside, it's also risk. And then it's about compliance, ethics, responsible AI, which we have an office. I call it an office. It's a team of people following through on all these things, make sure we are compliant, we control the risk. And it's about cybersecurity. And cybersecurity is again connected to AI and data governance, right? Access control, all these things you need to have under control. So we have put up a foundation for these things and mature them as we go forward. And then we are a little proud that we were one of the first energy companies. We were actually the first. We always write one of the first that commit to the EU AI Pact for the responsible use and development of AI. Not because compliance is a problem, so we just have to make sure we look like we are like to be compliant, but it is a foundation to get the value out. If you're compliant, you actually following both your own values, you are safe, because that's why we have the compliance, and you have controlled the risk, and you actually also deliver the value. So I think by those words, Atle, I will hand it back to you.
Thank you very much, Jon Erik. Really interesting. And every time we discuss this, I have more questions coming up about the latest stuff, but I hope we have time at the end to address those questions, also to see if there's any question from the audience here. But we're going to instead jump straight into, okay, Jon Erik covered then the strategy, what are the framework, the roles and responsibilities around this to be successful and secure and to govern this. And then to take a little bit more than deep dive into, okay, so how do we then protect this, secure this with Microsoft? We are lucky to have Adita from product management from Microsoft product group to help us guide us through that in the next 15-20 minutes. So over to you.
Yep. Thank you, Atle. So very good morning and good evening, everyone. My name is Aditya. I am a AI security product manager from Microsoft, here to talk about the AI security and the agent security now. So now we know that everyone around the world wants the AI. So faster productivity, and then faster decisions, and then faster everything right now. And then they think that the manual thing is very slow right now, and then the AI driven is boom, it's of very high efficiency right now, and then the manual things are very slow, and who is using the manual one, they are out of date and they cannot use the other products now. And then, but what's happening here in most of the organizations, if we see, just like how we see the supercars, we are buying a supercar and we are driving it around the town, but we forget to wear the seat belts, which is the most safest thing in the world, but we are forgetting to wear the seat belts right now. And then they are trying to upgrade the engines, but not the brakes. Just like how we have the Copilot turned on, but how we are going to secure it, and how we are going to use the other AI apps, and how we are securing it, how we have the security and governance around it, is a question mark around all the companies right now, just like how we are seeing in the world now. And then AI is inside your organization as well. We cannot tell that AI is not there. Everyone in the world is now using any one AI apps right now. So we cannot tell that AI is not there. So AI is there in your organization. So the question is it controlled? And is it governed? Is it secured? that is the thing which we have to see right now. The adoption of AI is very fast. And because of this, the speed without control isn't actually innovation. It's actually more of a liability right now. And then so now we talked about the supercars. Now let's talk about the road, how it's going to go. Yeah, next slide, Atle. Yep. And because securing AI is not just one problem, it's not just the data which we have, it's not just the regulations, and every organization will be having 10 different security tools and then 10 different teams which will be there to control the AI there. And then it's not just new risks that are coming in, it's already there for us. And not only are the data and data sources are growing to make the data security more challenging, but not all data needs the same kind of protection as well. For example, a finance company will be having a different set of AI, different set of users with different set of mindsets and use case scenarios. But just like what John Eric now mentioned, in oil and gas, there will be a different set of problems. So securing AI is not that easy now. It's very complex and it's multifaceted because of the organizations which we are working in. It's since every organization has different types of data and different set of users, there is no one size fits all strategy here. So based on the organization, understanding their use case scenarios, the AI security differs there. And then over the last decade, previously we used to see there was a cloud booming which was coming in, and then came the cloud security. The same thing which we are seeing now is the AI security right now. And then we are seeing the customers look at the generative AI to drive the next wave of innovation, and it's uncharted territory. That's what we are in right now. Next one, Atle. And what are the most common questions and the risks that are coming up, and what we need to ask ourselves in this AI era is the first challenge. What I see in the companies is actually discovering the risks itself. So first, we need to understand what type of Gen AI apps are being used in the organization, and then who has access to it, and then who has to govern that access. All these comes in the first question for us. So because without even knowing what we are going to handle it, it's going to become very difficult for us. So that's the first question which we have to do there. And then what type of sensitive data is actually flowing into the AI applications, and then what AI applications are being created, and then is the data secured and governed or not? This is the second question. And then understanding these risks will help us address them and then design the effective security controls for us. And we have to make sure that the interactions in the AI, what is going in, what is the response we are getting in, which we call them as prompts and responses, that are also being governed, that are being secured. And then what is the data that is being shared. We'll come to those in the upcoming slides right now. Next one. Yep. And now as we talk about the AI, we have a newer thing, which are the agents that are joining the workforce right now currently. And then we know that they don't get any onboarding sessions like how we humans used to get right now. And then not any HR sessions, not any security sessions. They are just onboarded in our systems, and they are interacting with all our data just like that. And then they are just working as human employees for us. I even saw some job openings where they're asking for agents. They don't need you, they need the agents that you are building. So just like that, build the agents for us and then give us. We are going to have them. We don't want you humans. Like that, it's going right now. These are the IA agents that we have as new workers right now. And in so many organizations, the workforce is now, as we see, it's a mix of humans, AI agents, and then the data they interact with. We have 3 layers right now. And then you have to think the agents like a network of employees, like these nodes which you are seeing here. The AI agents are also working along with people right now. And then once these AI agents join the workforce, and then the IT and security teams start asking so many important questions there only. Before that, nope, we don't have anything. We have the human employees, the managers are there, we have the developers and all those stuff. So the challenging thing now we have is not just managing the employees, but also the agents in the same way how we are managing our employees. And then can our IT and security team can discover what are the agents that are there in our organizations? And do we know that are they interacting and working the way they are supposed to be? And are we sure that they are not sharing any sensitive information, and are they being audited properly? I think these are the main questions that are coming around in agents right now. And as a Microsoft professional, I have solutions also for you guys right now, which is very practical, easy to use. And we'll talk about that in the upcoming slides right now. The next one, Atle. Yep. And what are the main security challenges that the CISOs and the security teams are actually facing with these AIs and agents currently in the present day? I work with multiple customers, and what I hear from them is, first one is agent sprawl and resource access, where we have thousands of agents that are created in the org, but we don't know if they are being discovered or not. Sorry. And then the data sharing, we'll just ask something in the Copilot or our AI, and then we don't know where the report is coming from. It can pull the report from your CEO, CIO, your sensitive data, and then the client data, if it is not guarded properly. Sorry. And then the main issue is the shadow AI. Shadow AI is something which is not governed actually. So the AI like Copilot, which we have in an organization, or the ChatGPT Enterprise, that are actually governed by the organization. But in some orgs, we'll be having Copilot where the we'll be having so many interns, and then the developers who will go they just go into their browser, type a random AI website, and then start doing their thing, vibe coding there, and then they pull out the code from there, and then they'll put it in your production, and we'll not know how it is gonna go, how many vulnerabilities are there, how many prompt injections are there. This is the most famous thing which we are seeing right now, which is the shadow AI and the new AI vulnerabilities. And then the next thing is regulatory compliance. Of course, the compliance is changing right now according to the AI which is being there, so that we have to make sure that how the data is getting regulated and how guided we are in this one. So these are the challenges that we are facing commonly right now. There can be so many also in this one. Next one, Atle. Yep. And how our Microsoft actually gives the solution for us in the data oversharings and the leaks today is, we have multiple products in this. So the Entra, Intune, Defender, Sentinel, and then the Security Copilot. And today I'm going to focus on the purview part and how we are going to secure and govern the AI and agents here. And then as I told before, for discovering the risks, what are the risks are there to find in the first step, we have a product called as DSPM for AI, which will help us show all the risks that are there. And then it shows a consolidated view for you, where all the risks, what are the products, who is doing what, everything. And then on the second one, they are classifying and preventing the data loss, which is the when you are saving a Word file, you are giving a sensitivity label for it and then saving it. And then when you are typing a prompt and then which contains sensitive data, you are getting blocked. This is being done by the information protection and the DLP tool here. And then for catching and blocking the notorious users, which is very common there in all the orgs, where if they get any sensitive data, or their boss will sometimes come and ask them, hey, give me a presentation quickly, I need a 10-minute presentation. They'll just go copy paste all the sensitive data, strategic documents, and then go and paste it in a browser in a random GenAI app, then ask for a presentation, and it will also give us a beautiful presentation and then capture our data there. And then only in Twitter, we'll be able to see in a couple of weeks later that the organization got breached. So for preventing that one, we have the insider risk management tool and then the intra-conditional access to prevent all the data and the sensitive data, whatever is there. And then to have the data retention policies and then how it is getting stored, and then to manage the data throughout its life cycle, we have the data lifecycle management. This is how Purview on 360 degrees is going to secure your data end to end. And then the next one, Atle. Yeah, this is my favorite slide actually. So I talked about too much technical on the previous slide. Now, let me tell you in a simple way how our Purview's approach to data security is actually. So imagine that Microsoft, we actually treat all our data as kids only because it's very sensitive. We got to take care of them very well. If it goes out, it will be a bigger problem for us. So we have to take care of it very carefully. So imagine that you are going to a mall with a couple of kids there. And then in the first thing, if you see information protection, as I mentioned, it's labeling. So if you are going to have a label to your kids, it will be easier for you to identify and then block the entry and then the exit of the kids outside. So that is what the information protection is going to do to your data. So you are going to label it. And then in the next one is data loss prevention. In the data loss prevention activity, you are going to have a security guard, just like how we have the prompt DLP in Copilot, the DLP solution, which is going to block the entry, exit of the sensitive documents in your Copilot or any GenAI apps, just like how the security guards in malls do for kids. If they have anything there, they won't allow them outside. They are going to prevent this activity there. And then you are going to save your kids going out from there. Your sensitive data is getting saved there also. And then insider risk management. As I told, those are the notorious guys. You might, in the mall, you might see a suspicious guy who is standing and then having some 4 or 5 kids with him, which looks very suspicious for you. And then like webcam finds out something suspicious and then you go call it out. So this is how you find out the insider risk, and then you're going to block the insiders from doing the notorious work by downloading some 50,000 documents at one time. So, and in the middle, we have the data security posture management, which is the whole security control room for you. So when you can't find by anything, you're going to go into the control room of the security guards and then find out like, hey, what happened to my kids? Can you go ahead and check all the webcams there and then ask the security guards, and then you're going to get a holistic view of what happened to your data there. This is how our whole Purview umbrella works actually. Hope that was made clear right now. Next one, Atle. Yeah, this is how our DSPM, new DSPM feature looks like. As we heard from most of our clients right now, they need they do everything together, the DSPM and DSPM for AI in a single pane window. So this is the new pane. If you guys haven't tried, please go ahead and try. It contains everything for your AI. So in the AI observability for your agents, and then for in the reports, you'll be able to get all the reports related to M365 policies, AI usage, how it is going on, and then if any risks are there, and then what are the potential sensitive label usages, what can be a, say, you think that it can be a dangerous incident, everything can be seen in one plane here, so that you can take your decisions more quickly in from our DSPM window here. Next one, okay. Yep, and introducing our Microsoft Agent 365, which is our brand new tool, which we
sorry, go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, and which is the brand new feature which we have introduced right now, specifically for agents right now. So in the it has got a couple of features there: registry, access control, visualization, and interop and security, where you can register the agents and get an ID for them, and then have a whole inventory of your agents, including your shadow agents, and then from who's the owner, and then who's going to approve it, and complete end-to-end access of the agent, your life cycle of the agent, you are going to be getting it here. And then in access control, you'll be controlling where and who all has access and what type of sensitive data the agent has access. Everything you'll be able to control from this pane. And then in the visualization pane, which is an interesting one, it will be showing all the nodes, like who, which users, where the agent has traveled, and then who all has access to it, what type of sensitive data, to a beautiful map you'll be able to see. And then who all is having an hand over it in interop, you'll be able to see. And then in security, which is connected to the DSPM there, you'll be able to set up the regulatory compliance, security, and then the policies, DLP policies, and sensitive data activities. Everything you'll be able to control the in this security pane here. So this is our Agent 365 overview. And the next one, Natle. Yes, and by what all products are involved in it in the Agent 365, by using our Entra, you'll be able to create the agent ID and the registry, and then the agent lifecycle management, access, and then the governing the access, you'll be able to do it in the Entra. And then from Purview, as I mentioned, you'll be able to do the data security, information protection, insider risks, and then complaints for all your audits, your internal audits, external audits, everything in a single pane. And then in Defender, you'll be able to get the agent inventory, and then the posture management, and the hunting for agents, and then the threat detections in the agents, and then the real-time runtime production, and then what are the incidents, what are the breaches if it's there, what and all, where the agent is traveling, everything in Defender. So by using all these products in single pane, you'll be able to see this in Agent 365 for us. So please go ahead and use the product and let us know how helpful it is for you guys. And I hope that it solves the current problems for the agents in the market right now. Next one, Natle. All right, and I'm in the final slide right now. And so what did we learn today? The AI is joining the workforce for us, and honestly, AI is the most productive employee that you'll ever hire in your company. It works for 24/7, never takes any vacation, and then never asks for a salary increase, and you'll have a personal assistant as well for free of cost. But if you don't secure it properly, it's going to be the intern that's running around with an admin access with all your confidential files, and going to share it to the entire internet in 2 seconds actually. And the idea is simple here, if you see here. So use our Microsoft Purview to protect the data, and for Defender for watching the threats out, control who can access it, and make sure that the AI and the agents behave properly. And the security for AI follows everywhere for us, including our Copilot and agents, and then the AI apps which we have in our organizations, and then the AI platforms, and then the developer tools. So the goal is very simple here. Let the AI work like a genius with genius. Let the AI work like a genius employee, but never let it work like an intern with all your admin access here. And for any questions, please post it in your chat. I'll be able to help you guys through it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll just, we have just a few minutes left here. I'll just try to add a little bit on top of what our excellent experts has been sharing so far. Focusing on the bigger picture. We can start with, there was talk about what's the operating model we need to do. Jon Erik talked a little bit about responsible AI, also to ensure compliance with the EU Act. And I've seen a couple of companies starting by creating a policy procedure for AI and so on, but it's more than that. And here I would say are the 10 pillars of good AI governance framework. And I think Jon Erik and others touch upon it many times. One is the strategy, anchoring with management, ensuring that you have people know what's expected, what's their target, but also the risk management framework. For example, do you need a data privacy impact assessment for new initiatives to ensure that does it process private data, and if so, then go through the assessment. We also were talking in the last session about discovering what you have, identifying what the risk or the different things, educating people was Equinor. So I won't go through them all here, but I think this 10 really summarize it. And if you need help with this, let us know, and we have experts that can help you on this establishing a good AI governance framework. In addition to that, let's see here. There was also talk about how to secure and govern AI with Microsoft. We see an awful lot of focus about data leakage, how to avoid oversharing, and that's where Microsoft Purview has a big role. But it's more than Purview, as you see here. You have Entra, we talked about, Defender, Foundry, and Portal. So basically using that partnership we already have mostly with Microsoft and building upon that, even though you might need third party and others that Jon Erik talked about, because there will be agent from anywhere that also adds value to this, depending on the platforms and what's the task at hand. If you need help with that, feel free to contact us and we can help you set up a framework for how to secure and govern AI with the Microsoft license that you're currently on. Jon Erik also talked about the agentic blueprint. I also wanted to show how this could look like, mainly focus on Microsoft platform. You have the agent build and orchestration, the data management foundation, the integration layer with MCP and secure APIs, identity and access control, and data protection and compliance security monitoring. But this framework, I think Jon Erik also touched upon that well, that's something that you don't install and forget. It will require frequent changes because the risks evolve, new data types, new partnerships, new agents, new sharing, new regulations, and therefore taking that into consideration. And that's why we at Infotechtion, we developed actually then this as a service to help you in this journey, even though, as this was also touched upon, the only thing, what's it saying? The only thing constant in life is change. So what you said 3 months ago, 6 months ago, might have to be revised and looked again to be improved. So if you need more information about what we at Infotechtion do, check out our website, infotechtion.com. We actually went live yesterday with a new website content with updated value propositions. So spend some time there and ping me if you have any questions or the email you got about the webinar, and we'll set up a one-to-one meeting. Also happy to sign an NDA for me and my team if you want to prefer that before a discussion. But the last few minutes, I would like instead to see if there's any questions. And if I may, let's see here and start. Sorry, I'm skipping here. I'm just trying to find you guys back. Jon Erik, I have just a question for you. There's another saying that the road to success is often full of failures. There hasn't been any failures in your journey, or have you built a framework for how to enable cheap, smart, quick failures to ensure success?
Yeah, that's always a good one. I would say failures is actually often a success because then you learn. And this area is so new that you need to learn. So I don't see the failure as a failure. I see it more like that you dare to experiment. And sure, we have experimented on things. Says, it didn't work, right? But so I think you need to experiment. You need to ensure that you capture the learnings and don't do the same mistake again. And don't despair because everyone else is also failing, right? So this is the process we are in right now. This is going so fast, so we need to do that one. But yes, we have, and we also have picked up application solutions, which is not according to our framework, so we shut them down again, right? So that also creates some noise.
Yeah, noise. And Adrian, when looking at Microsoft, there's so many new innovations, so many new things coming. How to keep up with this? Is it just like, focus on the baseline and move from there? What's your recommendation?
So I'd say the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, actually, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and then relearn, and then fail fast, like how Jan Erik also mentioned. So in this fast-moving world, so change is the only constant. So we gotta keep moving and keep pacing ourselves along with that.
I would also say any question in the chat that we haven't addressed, I haven't had time to look at it, we will review and get back to. So we will try to answer any question offline here after the session. But since we're running, and I know some of our excellent speakers have meetings starting in 3 minutes, I would like to instead close by asking Jon Erik and Adrian, closing quick, what's the next thing people should be doing when coming back either office on Friday or next week or whatever? What's the key takeaway? Starting with you, Jon Erik.
Oh, thank you. That's it. It's a million things, right? That's how it feels like. No, I think two things. One, make sure you have control of your underlying platforms, no matter if they are for the data side or for the agentic AI MLOps operations, right? Because that's going to be a huge cost driver if you lose control of that one. Everyone is making their own things, right? So that's one thing. The other thing I would recommend you start looking into is the data access management, the agent access management, and how you're going to control this thing. Because it needs to be controlled, but it needs to be done in a way that you can actually ensure you have innovation at the edge, which is where the users are. I think that's going to be the most tricky things. And I can probably tell you 10 more things you should do, but at least those two things, data, governance, platforms, is core to these. And you probably need to partner up with someone because you're not big enough, most of you, to handle everything yourself. I partner up with someone to get the competence I need at the speed I need it.
Thank you. Aditya, anything you want to add? You're muted, so...
Yeah. Yes. One thing as a Microsoft techie, I would say, don't wait for the AI to become perfect. So, and don't wait for the security to become a problem for you guys. So learn to play around with the AI and in a secured and controlled way, and learn it, secure it, and govern it.
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Really good point. So thank you again to our excellent, fun, amazing experts here that joined us. Thank you for all attendees here joining us. Also for those that will be seeing this, the recorded session that will be shared early next week. Feel free to contact us if there's anything, if you want to follow up the discussion or discuss any of these topics in more detail. And we will also get back to any question that was unanswered in the chat and respond back to that. So thank you again, all of you. Have a lovely rest of the day.